Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Firefly the board game unboxing. This is to show off some of the excess stuff that you don't need to get, but it's fun to have. So we're gonna go over we're gonna kind of look at the shiny cargo hold acrylic tokens. It's a 4-person set. So if you decide to pick this up, you're gonna get 160 tokens, 32 cargo, 32 contraband, 24 fugitives, 24 passengers, 32 fuel, and 16 parts. So the idea is to replace your regular tokens. Now, not blaming Gale Force 9 or the Firefly board game campaign or anything, but when I saw a token set, I'm assuming my brain thought, like most games that have a token set, is every single token in the game will be an acrylic token. This is just your main parts that go on your ship. So they didn't do like the warrant tokens or the haven tokens or any of that stuff. So it's again a big thing to keep in mind if you're ordering this, to pay attention to what you're getting, so you're not like, oh, I can toss all my tokens away because I'm getting new ones, because you're not getting ones for everything, just for the stuff that goes on your ship. Again, it was clearly listed on there. I just read token packing, like, yep, upgrade, and didn't bother to think about it. So we'll look at those. And then what we'll do is at the end of the video, is we're also going to look at the card sleeve box if you want to get sleeves for your cards. Again, I'm assuming if they have extras, they'll have them available on their website, which is part of the Battlefront, which is actually probably going to go to Gale Force 9 or look at the Battlefront store for them. They'll probably have some extras available. Because you usually have to order X number of modes. So yeah, if you want sleeves, after we kind of look through these, I'm going to be taking a break per video wise, but then we'll come back after I have everything sleeved and all the tokens all put in the cases. We'll look at the big storage box for the 10th anniversary, and see how they all look, whether all together in there. But I wanted to kind of show you what was in these boxes first. Then we got this little bonus pack, which is actually not for Firefly the board game, but I didn't really have anywhere else to include it, so I'm going to put it in this. This is for the Firefly Adventures game, Brigands and Browncoats. So it's a little skirmishy miniature game, where you get to play as your characters. So here is from the regular game, is you get, let's scoot you back for a bit. You're going to get Malcolm Reynolds here. It's just his casual form. So each game has a casual and an action version. So when they're in combat, they're in a different form. And when they're just kind of strolling around during their missions, trying to do jobs, they get a casual form. So they made 2 promo figures that were available during this campaign. One was the Mel sitting on a rock, naked, from the episode with Saffron. Again, not going to thematically make sense for him to just be sitting out naked in the middle of and then switched all of a sudden full gun mode. But then the other one is kind of fun too, is he has Mal in the bonnet. Now I wish this was actually painted the green color, so it could have been like the action pose, because he obviously has his gun drawing. That would be definitely even cooler, because they each have different colors, so you can tell which one's for which stance. But it's still definitely neat that they made these sexual promos. Yes, if you want to pick them up, they don't have any inherent gameplay value. They don't do anything extra for the game. They're just kind of neat to have there. Alright, so let's crack into these tokens. Like I said, we'll go on later. We'll see, because I have these special cases to hold all the tokens. I didn't pop all mine out yet, because I knew I was getting these, and I wanted to see what we had. And now this won't come out of the box. So we're going to get a little case here with all the tokens in there. Let's see if I can open this. And it has 4 separate packs. So what is different about these versus the cardboard ones? Obviously they're not cardboard. They're acrylic tokens. Is that they're one-sided. So they're kind of interesting, because usually you get acrylic tokens, they're like double-sided, they're fully on there. These, they have kind of like a felt on the bottom. Kind of neat, so they're not going to slide. I mean, they'll slide a little bit, but they're not going to like damage your stuff at all. That's kind of different. But then they're kind of like a picture in there rather than actually making the full thing 3D, which I haven't really seen. I'm used to typical ones as just being a full 3D plastic, sometimes raised edges. But then you're also going to get two different ones. Your cargo and contraband are now going to be separate ones versus having as many. So the upside about this is they're definitely more durable than cardboard. They're not going to scratch your things at all because a little felt or velvet on the backside. They definitely look kind of neat. I guess they don't need, there's no way to they could have made them like raised pictures on there, but that's fine. I don't think they're really any more thicker thin than the other tokens, so I don't think that's going to be a difference there at all. But it also means you're going to have twice as many tokens sitting around, because now you're not going to be able to pick up a contraband cargo token and just pick it up and flip it to whichever side you need. So you're going to have twice as many tokens sitting around. You have all the fuel. We have our parts here. And then the other one would have been passengers. So there's 6 different types. So yeah, you're getting enough though for each player, for each of your 4 players. So if you're playing with more than 4 players for whatever reason, you'd either have to buy 2 sets of these, or the 5th and 6th player would have to just use cardboard. Now, how well are these backs going to hold up over time? I don't know. But then again, how will cardboard hold up over time as well? So that's definitely cool. Again, we'll hop in, we'll look at what these all look like in the packs. I'll probably fill up like 1 box with just the cardboard, and then 1 with these just to kind of show the difference. Then we want to look at the actual sleeves. These are kind of cool. This is a sleeve box. Now, this is not meant to replace holding all your cards. So if you bought this and you're like, oh, I own some of the games, I own some of them, they're not going to hold it's obvious this is already packed full, so once you put cards in there, it's not going to hold it anymore. But what they did was they have a pack for each different character, so they actually have the pictures on the back. Which is very different than just having like because you need to be able to see what's on the back of these, so rather than just giving you a ton of blank cards, we're going to get 1 for each different deck set. The only thing that does happen with this kind of means that if, for some reason, they release more stuff, we don't know if we're going to have enough sleeves. And the things, if you ever buy these again, are the sleeves going to be the exact same thing? Like, they change the ink just slightly on some of them for whatever reason. That could maybe affect stuff. Because, like, this Meridian is not the exact same color. Meridian is not the same exact color as the backs of the cards until it's a little bit darker. So if like they reprint this and it's a little bit darker, I think border line space is the same thing. I think they maybe will get different shade of blue. But yeah, we'll definitely have to see. We'll sleeve all the cards and then we'll find out from then if we have any extras or if we're short any. It should cover everything from the 10th anniversary all in, including all the promo cards, with the minor exception as if they made just enough. There were the saffron cards from the new Caper set that are supposed to replace the older ones. So those ones obviously might not be able to be covered, or it might not cover all of the. We have all the leader cards in regular and foil. There might not be enough to cover each one of those, but again, I'm not for sure. We will find out. But we'll also see how many sleeves we'll see how well they fit in the box. In the box after everything sleeves, see how many spaces they take up. If they're just pushing right to the top, or if there's a little bit of room, we'll see if there's a leeway, if they make more expansions in the future, possibly, if we're going to have room to fit these in. Yeah, so I'm going to take a quick pause here on this video, take a while for me to sleeve all these, and then we'll come back to the rest of the video and we'll see what that box looks like. Alright, see you guys in a minute. Alright, welcome back. So I went through, I popped out all the tokens from the 10th anniversary set, and we kind of see how they sorted out in here. So I put them into each 4 trays, which is the idea of how you're supposed to do this. Like each player of the 4 players gets their own trays. So like one thing to mention here is there's a couple different things I had to do a little bit different ways. First of all, like if you ever play more than 4 players, obviously you just have to share some of these. And then the second thing is, again, we did have the acrylic token packs. which I had here, so I did not dump all of them out yet. I just did one just to kind of show off the difference in case you're curious. Again, it only covers the contraband, cargo, passengers, fugitives, and then the parts and the fuel. So all the rest of the disgruntled, wanted, warrants, completion, and Alliance Reaver tokens will always, and the Haven tokens will always be cardboard anyhow. So yeah, if you're hoping to get everything in acrylic, that pack's not going to do it. So you may decide, I don't want half acrylic, half not. That's entirely up to you. Now here I divided each one individually, or like separate set of the same amount. I ended up with a couple left over. So maybe they just gave you some extras or whatever. The two things I did a little bit differently in sorting these though is this is supposed to be the Haven slot, and then I don't really know where they want the complete ones to go. They have just a circle in there, so maybe it's just to put all the warrants and all that stuff, or mix some of these. I just took the Havens out, and I'm going to probably keep them, I'm going to keep them probably in like one box by itself, just because of the fact is there's only a Haven for each character, and it doesn't really make sense to have two in this one, two in that one, two in that one, and then it's like, oh, if I'm picking blue, I need to be this. But what if I have blue and green in here, and someone wants the blue and green Fireflies? Then you gotta go and pull the token out, plus they're numbered on the back for some of the solo missions and things like that. It's just, there's some of the other missions, it just doesn't make sense to have them in 4 different trays. I'm gonna keep them all in one tray. The other thing I do want to show off is, so these two here have just a separated amount. This one here, I put all of the acrylic tokens in. So there are a total of, I think, 16 tokens in here. Which are the same amount as there would be in here. So I think we have roughly the same amount either way. Just these ones are double-sided versus these ones are single-sided. So your passion and that stay the same. The problem we ended up with was this right here, is there's only 6 and I think 8 parts and fuel, versus there's a lot more of each one when using the cardboard. So you're ending up with a lot less using the acrylic for 4 players, because there's only enough, again, for so many. So again, if you're playing 2 players, 3 players, might never be an issue. But I worry about 4 players, if they're including this much in the Anniversary Edition, are you going to run out? So that might be a question there too. So I personally might end up doing, because I think most of the time I play this game, I'm probably end up playing either solo or with one other person. I might just fill up 2 of these with half and half for the acrylics, and then put all the rest of them in the other one. So that's what I did with this one, is I dumped all of the one from this one tray into there. So this has a set of 2 of 2, 2 and 2, and you can see how much more full it looks. Even again, if you're just going to play with one or the other, you can just pass them back and have 2 on the table, 1 on each side of the table. Don't necessarily have to have all 4. Might not even have room for all 4. But just to point all that out. Right, so that's kind of how that ends up working, was you're not going to have as nearly as many parts and fuel in the acrylic token packs as you will everything else. Because they only gave you 16, so it's only 4 or 8 for each one. And it's the same thing here. It's, a little bit more of each. But there's not a ton for each one for a 4-player game. I don't know if these were maybe based on, I wonder if these are based for just the core game, and they weren't taking into inclusion, maybe the expansion packs, which I believe also did add some additional tokens as well. If we look at the book here, it kind of shows that. Because, like when you start getting, like, Pirates and Bounty added some extra tokens to it. Coachworks added some extra couple of tokens. It doesn't look like either of the main 2 sets did. At least they don't show them in the book at all. But you have a couple extra from both of those. That could have gotten probably enough for each different ship, is what my guess is. So every ship has their own amount, and that might be the difference. Is they have a set, 4 players is a set for the 4 base ships. But then if you got all the other expansions with all the other ships, they added tokens in enough to accommodate each ship having their own token. So potentially if you're playing with every single ship, you'd have tokens for every character. So realistically, you'd almost need to buy 2 of these to have enough for every single ship to have their own set of acrylic tokens to be comfortable. But that's not what happened. So just a heads up if you are purchasing this. And I did was with the acrylic one is I threw all the Haven, I mean, guess technically the Haven ones could go there, but I put them all in the same one there. Alright, so that is what we have for that. Then the next thing we wanted to do was look at sleeves. So we did have our box here, if you remember from the earlier in the video. These were 100% full. Left to right, all the different sleeves. In the end, this is what I end up with as extras. So what it does is there should be 2 extra for, I keep getting confused where my camera's at because I moved it. There should be 2 extra of each. So we get 2 extra of each different type. So it's kind of, it's okay. It gives you a little bit of a buffer if something rips, but not a bunch. I have 3 of the misbehaves. I have a bunch of these. I'm not sure why they gave me so many extras of these. But yeah, so it gives you like a little bit of leeway, but here's also again that issue is if sleeves do start to break down over time, which they definitely can. I even had some of these. I think I don't remember which ones they were, but like when I was starting to just use them right there, like right, it was already starting to tear. This is just from me taking out of the pack. I had a couple there. You don't have any backups, so I don't know. Like I might have to see about trying to hunt. It's kind of a bummer because of how big and maybe how expensive this is. I mean, I guess this is probably going to be like $40, $50 to buying an extra box just essentially for replacements. Although, again, if they release any more sets, I don't have any more sleeves enough for any more sets. So it's also another, unless they release like a small starter set promo, I might be fine. But anything else, I wouldn't probably have enough unless it's just 1 or 2 promo cards. So that's definitely something to also maybe keep in mind if you're looking at buying these. I don't know if they're planning on releasing more content after the Caper set, after this 10th anniversary, but if they decide to release more, although there's not going to be any room in the box for it, which is kind of be detrimental to release more stuff than not have more room in the giant box everyone just purchased, but it's always a possibility. Or if your sleeves start to break down, you don't have anything to really replace them. Granted, you could just use clear sleeves to replace some of them here and there, but then because they do have the backs will be the same, basically, but they will kind of stand out. So let's take a look at what the actual trays all look like. Alright, so we're going to start off by looking at the bottom tray, which is all of our contacts and our supply decks. I'm not going to go into too much on this, but I do have them all sleeved. They'll sit in there very nicely. Nothing's really popping over the top. A little bit, they kind of boost up a little bit, but there's still room. Again, maybe talking for expansions. If they added some, like, I could push some of these down, so I could probably get a few extra cards in there, so maybe like 1, maybe 2 expansions. But again, if they don't release some sleeves, and I have to buy more sleeves, that's kind of a pain there. So I doubt they're going to give free sleeves with every single set, just because there's a lot of people that probably didn't buy these sleeves. But the sleeves in themselves are very nice. So like here's Badger. And if we pull out Badger's card, you can tell it looks very, like it is definitely a shiny sleeve. Very shiny on the other side too. But it works out really nice. You can still tell. There's that card. We have, our card on this side. A little bit of a shininess to it, but again, nothing big. But yeah, it does hold everything very nicely on the bottom row. And then we'll drop this back into the box quick. This one is a little more finicky. So this is the second one. This has all your flying decks and your other decks. So now here they had spots over here for your alerts, for your bounties. The bounties are getting a little bit towards the top, but again, not that big of a deal as long as it's not over. Capers. Rim space, though, is right up to the top. When you have the cover on, it's fine because it'll push down a little bit. but they actually have the symbol on the bottom that rim space should be here. I put the Alliance there because if I stack all the Alliance in here, this is one reason why I don't like this tray. They should have had little gaps in there. It does stick over. Like, again, you put that cover on, it will compress it right down to the top. But then as soon as you take it off, or if there's ever a little bit of a gap in there, like that cover bows up a little bit, some of these cards might start sliding. So that's why I moved a bunch down here, just to prevent that. Border space, and then the misbehaved cards, we did the same thing. They took up 2 decks. So again, there is a little bit of room in here, everything except for rim space. But if you had to, worst cases, figure out somewhere else to put the caper cards, you could add more rim space cards in there. And double that as well. So there is definitely room to do some different stuff in there, if they have it. Then what I did was on this side, you're like, why do I have these random cards? Because these were the 3 saffron cards that got replaced, but I had the sleeves. I wanted to sleeve them anyhow just so they didn't get wrecked. But I don't need those because I have the replacements from the caper set. So I just wanted to put those off to the side. And that's actually not a bad spot to put them. Alright. Then we're going to close that one up. As you can see, like, rim space here is pushing right up on the top. So yeah, if this ever for some reason bowed up a little bit, which it stays pretty darn solid, is I could see some of these maybe sliding around if you're tipping the box too much. But this is a very big box. Alright, then the last thing is we had the main set here. So over here we have all our starter cards. Again, they're getting pushed to the top. Now, I did sleeve all of the foiled ones as well because I had the extra sleeves for them. Now it's up to you. You want to sleeve them or not. You don't really need to use both the regular and the non-sleeve ones. There's no reason to have both. Kind of the same idea with like the saffron cards. Once you have the big damn hero set, promo set, you could opt to take out all the regular versions of the characters and only use just the big damn hero, or vice versa if you don't want to use them. So there's an option there as well. But just showing that I have enough sleeves. The other thing I ended up doing though, because I didn't plan for this, which again, I hate that you can't get cards out of here very easily. They should have like made them trade a little bit. So they do have the 2 upgrade cards that were double-sided. I just grabbed some of my other sleeves I had. And they have like a little mat back to them. But they're still see-through, but it's just kind of I bought. You can probably get some that are completely see-through on each side without that issue. But I like these. They work very well for me. But I just put the ones that are for more general gameplay on the easier side, and these ones are more if you're playing with the pirate side. But yeah, so that's the only downside is if you bought the sleeve pack, you'd be able to sleeve every card except these 2, unless you just sleeve them in these, and then you have to pull them out and swap them around each time you want to play at the different side, which is again a very possible thing to do. Alright, then we also have all our big damn money, which I didn't really go over too much. This is the upgraded money that came from on the bottom here. If you can kind of tell, I have all the stands for all the Firefly ships on there. I know a lot of people liked the money from the original game, so some people are disappointed they bought this, they didn't get that. If you still have the base game, you could swap out the small money, just because it's about half the size. Do I have it sitting here? Yeah, I think I have it right here. Let me grab some quick. So here is the original money from the base game. You can definitely see it's a lot smaller in size. Some people prefer this, just easier, not take up so much extra table space. Some people like the big money, which felt more like it's supposed to be more in line of what the show is. So it's definitely up to you if you want to replace those out or not. And then do something different with those. Maybe save them for one of the other Firefly games that's a little bit smaller. You know, if it needs money or some sort of currency, that's definitely an option. Over here, we have all of our ships. I have my dice bag, if I need that for anything. I have my 2 other cards. So I'll probably throw in that other slot with them saffron cards. I might even sleeve these as well. I haven't decided yet. And now you notice I have all my envelopes here. I took all of these out because I don't really need them. I think it's more, personally for me, it's more of a pain to have to pull each envelope out and then pull them out of the envelope. And secondly, because I sleeved all these, there's the rest of our ships. Now, do you have to sleeve these? Definitely not. There's no reason to. They do not come with sleeves in the sleeve pack. Again, you can easily tell which ones are which just by looking at the backs or by the fronts, by the colors. Very easy to tell. But yeah, I sleeved all mine just because, again, I like, if I'm gonna bother to have collecting stuff, I'd rather have them nice. It helps keep them, keep them from getting fingerprints or stuff like that on them. Plus, if you ever want, like, oh, like, what solo mode do I want to play, or what mission do I want to play, you can shuffle these together now, at least a little bit, like you would anything else. They're not as good as card sleeves. They are a little sticky. But again, I haven't done anything. Some card sleeves, as soon as you buy them, are like that too. So what did I use for these? Just to show that off quick. And so the other problem with these is they don't really fit in the envelopes as well anymore. You can see they kind of stick over. So what I bought for these, I actually went to Hobby Lobby and bought Measure and Mixing their 4x6 recipe card protectors. I'm sure any 4x6 sleeve would probably work. But these were like $3 for a pack of 50. The only downside is there are 51 cards. So if you bought these, you'd end up having to buy 2 packs or have one of these it's not sleeved. But just in case you find something that's maybe like a 25 pack or a 20 pack, just so you're keeping an eye on any 4x6 sleeve. They might have some 4 trading cards. I just bought these previously and they work really well. They're the perfect size. That's, again, entirely up to you if you want to do that. We have all our dice down here. The last thing I just want to bring up is there anything, if you own the previous games, is there anything you're going to want to bring from those into this game? Or if you purchase the 10th anniversary to get everything. Like, like for me, example, I currently had owned the base game and 3 of the ships. I didn't own any of the other expansions. So for me, buying this was definitely the way to go. To get everything all at once, and you only have a little bit of limited content. But is there a reason to bring any of the old stuff into this game? Again, you might want to keep the money. If you like that smaller money versus big money, again, also might table size might be a factor for that as well. I could see keeping the miniatures of the Fireflies if you like to paint them maybe differently. I think they might be a little bit more durable on just a solid plastic than these versions. So some people might like that alternatively. The third thing is if you have enough of them, you could always customize your own game to like maybe use the extra Alliance cruiser or extra Reaver ships to make the game more difficult, make your own custom modes, stuff like that with the extra ships you can do. Tokens, again, I think we have enough cardboard tokens, but if you have the base game, you could definitely just dump them all into here and add those if you don't want to try and resell it or give it away. The other question would be all the different cards. Could you add more of the same cards into this game? You could. I don't see why there wouldn't be a reason if you have more weapons and items, cards like that, you're just going to be able to draw them more often. If you take some of the non-unique characters out, like Jane, Zoe, Harking, or, some of those different people, and you have more people like the Mutters, the Soldiers, you could hire more generalized random crew than specific crew, but again, the issue would be you might bog down the deck too much. It might be harder to find those specific other crew members. You could just combine all the decks together and then be like, oh, well, if I come across someone already has, let's say, Jane, and I pull them up in a thing, and you just remove from the game, draw a new card. And you can always do it as that, just a way to maybe find some of them guys a little bit easier if they have 2 copies of each. That is a possibility as well. The only reason I would advise against maybe mixing and matching stuff in would be, 1, is because there's no room in the storage box for it, and 2 is because if you only own the base game stuff, unless you're only playing with base game stuff, It's going to be weird to have, like, extra copies, easier to find things in the base game areas, but then when you get to the expansion areas, none of that stuff is easy to find. And you can also chalk that up to maybe even gameplay element being like on the border or rim space. It's harder to find supplies, easier to find things on the core, and you can play that way as well. I don't know if there's any reason to double up jobs, because there's already enough different ones, and I don't know if you'd want people getting the exact same job ever. Or you wouldn't want to get the same job twice. Like, oh, I randomly drew cards, I ended up getting the exact same job twice, and you could be like, I can just complete both of these at the same time. That might be unfair. Two people trying to do the same job. The only thing there I would maybe say is if you're, again, mix and match, customize your own rules, would be maybe have a thing that says if two players have the exact same job, whoever completes it gets the reward, and then the other one has to discard. So that makes every job a race. But again, if you only had the base set from before, and you didn't have all the expansions, then you'd almost have to take all them other cards out. And again, like now I have all my stuff sleeved, so me adding all them extra cards definitely wouldn't work, so I have to re-go buy new sleeves just for all those cards as well. And at that point, if I'm going to try and get doubles of everything, I may as well just buy another full all-in box and have 2 copies of every single card, and then sell off maybe individual stuff I don't need, like extra leaders and promos and stuff like that. Alright, but that's what we have there. Hope you guys have enjoyed these Firefly videos. If you guys have any questions, comments, hit me up, let me know. See you guys later. Bye!